The Chiefs just beat the Browns 33-29, and it was a great game. The crowd in Kansas City was phenomenal. I didn't realize how much I missed having like really passionate, fun, excited live crowds in the NFL. It was like a sea of red chanting, "Oh, oh!" Like, oh, dude, I love that. Even through the TV, it's just so like cool to hear, and I really, really miss that side of the NFL. Now, I want to start today by giving credit to Kansas City's quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. He was put in a tough spot yesterday. Basically, they had three rookie offensive linemen starting. They had center Creed Humphrey, right guard Trey Smith, and then right tackle Lucas Niang was actually drafted last year in 2020, but he opted out. So the result was that Kansas City had three starting offensive linemen who had never played a down in the NFL before. And they were playing against the Cleveland Browns. The Browns have a really, really good defensive line. Two former number one overall picks, Jadeveon Clowney, and then the headline guy, Myles Garrett, who's a fantastic defensive end. And they got pressure on Patrick Mahomes early and often. He was running around for his life. Now, the key was they could not bring him down. And I cannot understate the impact of having Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback. He's the best quarterback in the NFL by a mile. His ability to extend plays and survive with a bad offensive line is just ridiculous to me. I think I often don't give him enough credit, actually. And he makes throws that other guys wouldn't even attempt. I mean, again, in my predictions for Kansas City, I talked about how I'm concerned about their offensive line, as if I totally, and I think I did. I can't believe I forgot how good Patrick Mahomes is at extending plays. And that is what sets him apart from everybody else. It's the incredible throws. It's all the stuff he does, sure. But it's really what most impresses me about Patrick Mahomes is his ability to win, even with a disadvantage on the offensive line. Now, I want to give a shout out to Cleveland, their head coach, Kevin Stefanski in particular. The attitude from the Cleveland Browns from the get-go in this game was aggressive, and I really, really, really like that. They were going forward on fourth down multiple times, just punching Kansas City in the mouth. They had a play where, first of all, they scored a touchdown, and then they lined up to go for a two-point conversion, and they just ran the ball up the middle from a goal line set, and you're like, oh, wow, that's you ever heard of BDE, where you're like, hey, I know what I have here. I'm going to challenge you. And that's what they have. They just said, we are going to beat you up front. And that's what they did. And in my opinion, if you're going to go on the road against Kansas City, in Kansas City, you have to take risks. You have to go for it on fourth down. You cannot settle for field goals. And I really loved the approach the Browns took with this game, saying we are going to go balls to the wall, pedal to the metal, keep our foot on the gas, and go play after play after play, just going everything we have, fourth down, we don't care, we're not settling for field goals. In my opinion, that is how you beat Kansas City. Teams too often, the Baltimore Ravens are an example of this in recent years where they don't go for it on fourth down, they kick field goals, and I'm like, do you not understand? You're playing Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes. You have to take risks if you want to beat them. They did that. That was awesome. Now, there was an incident in this game that drove me nuts, and I was watching going... First of all, I really like Jim Nantz and Tony Romo, the broadcasters. I think their interpretation of this situation was totally wrong. Browns safety Ronnie Harrison Jr. got ejected, and it was crap, if you ask me. Like, what happened was just completely wrong as far as players are concerned. So Ronnie Harrison made a tackle on the sideline, and him and the player he tackled are kind of tangled up in each other, and Ronnie Harrison goes to step up and, kind of walk away, and he slips and kind of trips and lands on the guy. I get how from afar you could see, like, it looked like he stepped on him, but he wasn't purposely stepping on him. You could clearly see he kind of lost his footing and fell over on the guy and put a foot down. And that was something that a Chiefs coach did not like at all. He took offense to that and got all mad, and he pushed Ronnie Harrison. A coach pushed an NFL player. And then Ronnie Harrison, heat of the moment, pushes the guy back. So a Kansas City coach pushed a player, and the player pushed him back. And Ronnie Harrison, the player, got ejected for that. By the way, the coach did not, which is crazy to me. If you want to punish Ronnie Harrison, fine. But at least get rid of the coach, too. You got to toss both people minimum. But what I think really should have happened is nothing. Like, why do we have to punish people? Why do we have to eject a player for pushing a coach? It's a quick moment. It's heat of the moment. Two guys are really, really aggressive in the moment. A lot of testosterone going on. I would have just said, hey, here's a warning. Don't do it again. But what's even more crazy is he's a good player. Ronnie Harrison Jr. is a starting safety for the Cleveland Browns. So you can't eject a starting safety from a game. That's a big impact on your football game. But number two, why is a coach for Kansas City putting their hands on a Browns player at all? Like, do you understand how wrong that is? Do players need to now worry about having coaches push them around on the sideline? Of course the guy, Ronnie Harrison Jr., the player, got up and reacted strongly and pushed him back. Like, his heart rate is up. He's literally a heat-seeking missile on defense, trying to hit people, trying to make plays. How do you turn that off instantaneously and have clear state of mind to go, oh, I'm in the middle of a physical act. Did that coach just push me? I shouldn't push him back. The fact that Ronnie Harrison got kicked out, I understand. Like, normally I'm a guy who's like, yes, B, you can't make that kind of mistake. But it's like, where is the accountability for the coach? It's so wrong to me that Ronnie Harrison got punished. The other team didn't, and it hurt the Cleveland Browns. Their starting safety was out of the game. Really weird to me. I think ejecting him was kind of soft for the NFL, actually, especially since the coach started it. Like, Ronnie Harrison Jr., what did he really do? He tried to get out of a tangle. He slipped, took a false step, landed on a Kansas City Chiefs player, and then he gets pushed. And of course he's mad about that. So I thought it was total hogwash. I'm like, what are you talking about? Kicking him out of the game? Totally wrong. So the Browns lost their starting safety. By the way, their backup, Grant Delpit, was also inactive. So Cleveland ended up with a third-string safety in this game because of this dumb incident that it's like, again, the thing I can't get over is coaches should not be allowed to push players. Like, how wrong is that? And then he gets just so crazy to me. Now, they lost their starting safety, Ronnie Harrison, got kicked out of the game. Their left tackle, Jedrick Wills, hurt his left ankle. He left the game early. Also, Odell Beckham Jr. did not play. Odell Beckham Jr., their star receiver. He tried out his knee in pregame warmups. He's recovering from an ACL tear. He didn't feel right. He didn't play. I think that's the right move for Cleveland. It's better for him to come back in next week or week 3 or week 4, down the road, whenever he comes back. I would rather, if you're a Cleveland Browns fan, it's better for your football team that he comes back when he's totally healthy. If I'm the coach of the Browns, I'm looking at it this way, like, it's better to have OBJ back and healthy than try to rush him back and hurt him again or re-injure him or not put him out the right way. So I think what they did there, the way they managed OBJ, was really, really good. Still, though, you look at Cleveland in this game now against Kansas City on the road. They're down a safety, Ronnie Harrison, a left tackle, Jedrick Wills, and a receiver, Odell Beckham Jr. Not good. Like, you can't lose 3 starters and expect to beat Kansas City on the road. So I think personally the Browns could win a rematch. Now, as it went, they handed a late lead to Kansas City. It's pretty wild. In a matter of like 3 minutes, I think it was 3 minutes and 6 seconds to the T, you had a Kansas City touchdown, a one-play drive. Mahomes extends the play, launches it deep, beats the safety. Tyreek Hill scores a touchdown. You're like, oh my goodness, that's unbelievable. And then Cleveland goes 3 and out. They're punting. Punter's on his own 15-yard line, drops the snap. You're like, oh no. And so it gave Kansas City the ball, down 2 points on the 15-yard line. You're like, man, wow, way to hand Kansas City an advantage right there. And the game changed so quickly. In a matter of 3 minutes, Kansas City scored 2 touchdowns, took a lead. Now, Cleveland had a shot to win. They had the ball down 4 points with 2 minutes and 49 seconds left. Now, context matters here because the Browns had a chance to win the game. Baker Mayfield could have had the game-winning drive, and I understand that. And a lot of people will not listen to context and say Baker threw a pick at the end of the game on their, quote, chance to win the game drive. But let's be clear about this interception Baker Mayfield threw. Baker Mayfield throws an interception, cost him the game. He was moving in the pocket, trying to keep the play alive, trying to avoid a sack. And ultimately, I think he's trying to throw the ball away. He throws the ball to the sideline. He doesn't get enough on it. He's getting hit as he throws, and he just didn't get enough on the ball. And the ball did not get all the way out of bounds, got picked off. And again, everyone, it's unfortunate, is going to remember this interception and blame Baker. Oh, Baker threw a pick at the end of the game. They lost. And people are going to forget, I think, how good Baker played all game. He had a play early in the game where he's rolling left, flipped his hips, launched it vertically, or launched it across the field to the right. You're like, man, he looks really good. And I thought Baker played fantastic all game. And what's really sad about this interception that kind of sealed the game for the Browns is that he didn't even make a bad decision. Like, on paper, if you're a quarterback coach, Normally, trying to throw the ball away is a good and safe move. You would go, hey, avoid the sack, throw the ball away, great move. He just couldn't, he's getting hit as he threw, he couldn't get enough on it, got picked off. It's so unfortunate, and what's really sad is that people are going to remember it without the context of how it happened. It's like, oh, no. And all year, people can say, well, Baker threw the game-ending interception against Kansas City and didn't have a touchdown pass. It's like, well, they got the ball. They had long, like 9-play drives over and over again. They ran the ball for 4 touchdowns. But Baker threw for like 300 and something yards. Like, he had a great game, and it's sad that people are going to remember it, in my opinion, the wrong way. So, honestly, to me, this game validated what I already believed about the Cleveland Browns, which is that they're really good. They had a late lead on the road in Kansas City. And I think Browns fans should feel encouraged where, like, don't forget how bad things were 3 or 4 years ago. Like, Browns fans are not people who can complain about, oh, we lost to Kansas City. Like, no, shut your mouth. Crocodile tears for me. Like, be happy you're winning it all. And this year is going to be really, really good. Now, even though this is a tough loss, let's not pretend the Browns season is over. Cleveland is likely going to need to go to Kansas City again later this year, probably in the playoffs at some point. And winning a game like this in Kansas City is so rare. And if anything, this could actually help them down the road, where the sting of this loss to KC could sit like a reminder for next time, where it kind of reminds me when the Giants in 2007 lost to the New England Patriots week 17, and then later down the road replayed them in a rematch and beat them in the Super Bowl. I think we could see something similar like that happen with the Browns here. And I just don't think that I walk away from this game going, hey, Patrick Mahomes is phenomenal. The Browns, I thought, got kind of screwed over with their safety, Ronnie Harrison. They're missing a couple starters. Now, KC is weak on the offensive line as well. I'm not trying to make excuses either way. Like, you're never going to get a perfect game where the stars all align. But Baker had a really good game. Unfortunate stuff happened trying to throw the ball away. And the headline to me is, the Browns had the lead in the fourth quarter on the road at Kansas City, and that's a lot of progress to me. And I think that the year is going to go very well for Cleveland, and hopefully I would love to see a rematch between these two football teams, because that sounds like a lot of fun to me.